Beloved, you are guided here with intention. This is not random, it's sacred timing. Recently, you made a quiet decision, one that may have seemed insignificant to others, yet it carried great weight in the eyes of God. You chose what was right, when it would have been easier to choose comfort. You followed conviction over convenience, truth over recognition, and heaven took notice. The Bible reminds us, the eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to Him. 2 Chronicles 16-9. In that unseen moment, your faith spoke loudly. You stood when others stayed silent. You gave when it cost you. You forgave when pride resisted. That is living righteousness, real, costly, and powerful. And God saw it all. Do not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. Galatians 6-9. While you wondered if your choice mattered, heaven was already preparing your answer. Just as Abraham discovered provision in his moment of obedience, your faith has set something in motion. What's ahead is not by chance, it's a promise. Your breakthrough is forming, and your reward is closer than you think. Let's start here. Choosing what is right will often feel uncomfortable before it ever feels rewarding. It will stretch you in ways you didn't expect. It will ask you to go against the flow, to choose restraint when others choose indulgence, to hold your ground when it would be easier to give in. That tension you feel is not a sign you're failing. It's often a sign you're growing. Better is a little with righteousness than great revenues with injustice. Proverbs 16-8. What you gain through obedience may not look impressive at first, but it carries a kind of peace and stability that shortcuts can never give. There will be seasons where your choices don't make sense to the people around you. You may feel out of place, even isolated, but the path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Proverbs 4:18. Just because it's dim now doesn't mean it will stay that way. You are in the early light, not the final picture. Sometimes obedience feels like you're letting go more than you're receiving. You release relationships, habits, or opportunities that once felt important, and in those moments, it's easy to wonder if you've lost something valuable. But no good thing does He withhold from those who walk uprightly. Psalm 84-11. If it left your life, it wasn't meant to sustain your future. Righteousness is not about being flawless. It's about staying faithful. It's choosing to keep going, even after you've stumbled, even when no one notices your effort. The one who endures to the end will be saved. Matthew 24-13. Persistence is where transformation happens. And here's what matters deeply. God is not only looking at what you do, but why you do it. All a person's ways seem pure to them, but motives are weighed by the Lord. Proverbs 16-2. He sees the quiet intentions behind your decisions. He sees the moments you chose honesty when lying would have been easier. He sees when you held your tongue, when you gave generously, when you chose patience over reaction. You might ask, did it count? The answer is yes, more than you realize. Let us not become weary in doing good. Galatians 6-9. There is a timing to everything God does, and your consistency is not being ignored. Even when nothing seems to change on the surface, something is shifting within you and around you. God's way of measuring success is different. It's not about how much you achieve, but how deeply you trust. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3-5. Every time you choose trust over control, you step into alignment with something greater than what you can see. So if you feel unseen, don't lose heart. If you feel like your efforts go unnoticed, remember this: heaven sees clearly what the world overlooks. Your quiet obedience carries weight, your steady faith has value, and while you've been focused on doing what is right, God has been quietly preparing what is next. Let's speak honestly about waiting, that quiet, stretching space between what God promised and what you can actually see. This is where many lose heart, not in the moment of obedience, but in the silence that follows. You did what was right, yet nothing seems to change. You prayed, but the answer feels distant. You gave, but the return hasn't shown up. And in that stillness, a whisper rises. Was it even worth it? But waiting is not a sign that you were wrong. It's a sign that something deeper is being formed. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Psalm 37:7. Waiting is not empty. It's active in ways you cannot measure. God is not stepping back from you. He's working within you. He's building a faith that doesn't collapse under pressure, shaping a heart that can carry what's coming without losing its way, because timing matters. If certain doors open too soon, they would overwhelm you instead of bless you. What feels like delay is often alignment. God is arranging details you cannot see, people, moments, opportunities all fitting together at the right time. Nothing about this season is wasted. Even the silence has purpose. And while you're waiting, you're becoming. Each time you choose trust over doubt, peace over frustration, you grow stronger. You're developing endurance that will hold you steady when the answer finally arrives. So, don't rush this process or compare your pace to others. Growth that lasts is often slow and unseen. Roots go deep before fruit appears. One day, it will make sense. The delay, the struggle, even the silence, you'll see it all differently, because God is faithful, and what He is preparing for you will not be small. It will be worth every moment you chose to keep trusting. Let's be real for a moment. Choosing to live with integrity, to follow what you know is right deep in your spirit, can feel isolating. People won't always understand why you draw certain lines or walk a different path. Some will say you're too intense, too serious, maybe even too religious. But what they call extreme is often just the mark of someone who refuses to live a common life. You were never meant to blend in. You were set apart on purpose. There is a quiet cost to that kind of life. It asks you to go against the flow when it would be easier to drift with it. It asks you to stand firm when compromise would bring quick comfort. But being set apart has never been about ease. It's about alignment with something higher. Think of the moments in Scripture when obedience looked like loss before it revealed its true meaning. Abraham was asked to leave everything familiar without knowing where he was going. Yet in that uncertainty, God was shaping a promise that would bless generations. As it says in Genesis 12:1, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." That step into the unknown didn't feel safe, but it was sacred. God does not measure your life by how comfortable it looks on the outside. He measures it by how closely it reflects His purpose for you. And purpose often requires walking through seasons where you are misunderstood. Before there is recognition, there is often rejection. Before clarity, confusion. Before honor, hiddenness. Even Jesus experienced this. He lived with compassion, spoke with authority, and moved with truth. Yet people questioned Him, doubted Him, and turned away. As written in Isaiah 53:3, He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. If the Son of God was misunderstood while doing good, it should not surprise you that your obedience may also be misread. But here's something important. Misunderstanding is not a sign that you are lost. Sometimes it is evidence that you are exactly where you are meant to be. When your life begins to reflect something eternal, it will not always make sense to those focused only on what is temporary. If you've been feeling alone, it may not be because something is wrong. It may be because something is being prepared. There is a kind of separation that is not punishment, but protection. God often pulls His people away from noise before He brings them into clarity. Look at Elijah. After calling down fire from heaven, he still found himself alone, weary, and hiding in a cave. Yet it was there, in the quiet, that God spoke to him, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, but in a gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:12. The silence was not empty. It was full of divine presence. God often works in hidden places. He develops strength where no one sees, builds character where no one applauds, and plants seeds that take time to grow. You may feel overlooked right now, but heaven has not overlooked you. What is being formed in you matters more than what is seen around you. So when people misunderstand your choices, keep walking in truth. When your faith is questioned, remain steady. You are not living for approval that fades. You are living for something that lasts. Galatians 6-9 reminds us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Notice the promise is not immediate. It is certain, but it unfolds in time. Faith is not always comfortable. It asks you to trust before you see, to believe before you understand. It is not just a feeling. It is a decision you make again and again, especially when it would be easier to quit. Every time you chose to trust God instead of taking the easy way out, something shifted. Every quiet prayer, every unseen act of obedience, every moment you stayed when you could have walked away, it all mattered. Heaven keeps record of what the world ignores. Psalm 56-8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." Not one tear has been wasted. Not one act of faith has gone unnoticed. Maybe your obedience has cost you something. Maybe you've lost opportunities, relationships, or a sense of comfort. But loss in the natural does not mean loss in the spiritual. Sometimes what feels like losing is actually planting. A seed has to go into the ground before it grows. It disappears before it multiplies. In the same way, your obedience may feel hidden now, but it is already taking root in ways you cannot yet see. Remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They refused to bow, even when it meant facing the fire. And when they were thrown into the furnace, they were not alone. As Daniel 3:25 describes, there was a fourth figure in the fire with them. What was meant to destroy them became the place where God revealed His presence. Your situation may feel like a fire right now, but God has not left you in it. He is with you in it. There is always a reward tied to obedience, even if it does not show up right away. Hebrews 10:36 says, "You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised." The promise is still ahead. The delay is not denial. One day, what felt hidden will become visible. What felt painful will make sense. What felt like silence will reveal itself as preparation. And when that moment comes, it will not just be about recognition. It will be about fulfillment. You will see that every step, even the difficult ones, was leading somewhere meaningful. Your story is not defined by how others saw you. It is shaped by how faithfully you responded to what God asked of you. You may not have received applause, but you gained something far greater. You gained depth, you gained strength, you gained alignment, and in time, even those who doubted will see the fruit. Not because you tried to prove anything, but because what God builds cannot stay hidden forever. So lift your head. Don't second-guess the path you've chosen. Don't let delay shake your confidence, and don't let loneliness convince you that you are alone. You are walking a path that many do not understand because it is not meant for everyone, but it is meant for you. Keep going. Keep trusting. Keep choosing what is right, even when it costs you, because the God who sees in secret is not distant. He is near. And as Matthew 6:4 says, your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. What you've been building in quiet faithfulness is not lost. It is growing. And when the time is right, it will speak for itself. Thank you for staying with these words all the way to the end. If something in this message spoke to your heart, if it felt like confirmation of what God has been quietly doing in your life, take a moment and write, Amen. Let it be your simple, honest response of faith. If you know someone who is feeling overlooked, misunderstood, or tired from doing what is right without seeing results, share this with them. It might be the encouragement they didn't know they needed, a reminder that their obedience still matters and their story is not finished. Stay connected so we can keep walking this journey together, learning to trust God not just in the visible moments, but in the hidden ones too. And carry this with you today. You are not behind, and you are not forgotten. What God is building in your life is already in motion. Even now, in ways you cannot fully see, your faith is becoming fruit.